Hi, I'm Hans-Wilhelm. Today I will speak about the cause of an illness from the spiritual perspective. I believe that a deeper understanding can help us to embrace and advance the healing process. Let's get right to it.
We are all familiar with Newton's third law of motion, called the law of cause and effect. We see it everywhere in our life. It also includes illnesses. All illnesses are the effects of causes set into motion earlier. For instance, lung cancer is often the effect of a cause called smoking. Diabetes is often caused by a sugary and unhealthy diet. Sunburn is the effect of the cause of excessive sun exposure, and so on. We can clearly see that these illnesses were caused by something that we ourselves have set into motion earlier in our life. Cause and effect. But what about illness where even the physician doesn't know from where it came and why we have it, like many forms of cancer and so on? We cannot pinpoint it to anything specific that we did wrong, which may have caused this illness. If everything in our life happens for a purpose, are such illnesses then just a bad luck? Our problem is that we usually think of ourselves as too small, too limited. Many believe they only live this one single lifetime and therefore they cannot look beyond their present short lifespan on Earth. But we are eternal beings and most of us have lived many, many lifetimes before. It is quite possible that in some of these earlier lifetimes we have acted against the law of love and created what is generally called karma. If we are unkind, unloving against another person, against nature, or against ourselves, we are against our true nature, which is love. The consequence is karma or soul burden. It is stored in the large causal cosmic computer and will eventually return to us so that we see our mistake and can feel how our thoughts, words and actions have impacted others and ourselves. This is not a punishment. The law of karma is a tool for us to become loving and kind again by experiencing and understanding what we once have given to others or to ourselves. We are always reaping what we have once sown. Therefore, we are always our own teacher, and we are 100% responsible for whatever happens to us. This also includes our illness. So these illnesses, where we cannot trace the cause back in this lifetime, can be karma from a previous existence. As simple as that. There are countless reports and books on this subject by people who have explored past lives. Most famously, the American sleeping prophet Edgar Cayce, who has given about 15,000 life readings for people all over the world. Edgar Cayce was able to access the Akashic records and could read the person's karmic history, including the causes of their illness, and he even suggested innovative healing methods at times. Let's look at some famous examples from his vast library. There's a case of a college professor who had been born totally blind. In a previous lifetime, he had lived in Persia, which is now Iran, where he was a member of a barbaric tribe whose custom was to blind its enemy with a red-hot iron rod. He was the one who did it and also enjoyed it. That was the cause of his particular blindness. Naturally, blindness can have many other causes. Then there is a story of a 45-year-old mother of 3 children who was stricken with polio. She subsequently lived in a wheelchair and became completely dependent on others. The karmic cause was attributed to the entity's behavior in ancient Rome. She had been among the royalties and closely associated with Nero's persecution of the Christians. The reading said, and I quote, "And the entity laughed at those who were crippled in the arena, and lo, that self-same thing returned to you." End of quote. And then there is the case of a man of 35 years who since infancy had suffered from a severe digestive disorder. He needed constantly to limit himself to certain foods in certain combinations. The origins of his disability was attributed by the Cayce reading to an incarnation at the court of Louis XIII in France, where he had a very serious weakness. It was extreme gluttony. It was something that he had even done in a preceding life in Persia. In these 2 lifetimes, he had committed the sin of excess against his body. These are just a few examples of how our thoughts, words, and actions in past lives can become the cause of an illness in our present lifetime. But karma does not only apply to physical illness, it can also be the reason for psychological disorders, excessive behaviors, and emotional problems. Let's look at an example. The Cayce readings speak of an entity who, for karmic reasons, was once taken prisoner by Hannibal and forced to row in the galleys of the trade ships. He was cruelly treated by his colored overseers, of whom one of them finally beat him to death. His hatred against colored race persisted for 22 centuries. In his most recent incarnation, the entity was a farmer in Alabama. Throughout his long life, he hated black people with a fierce and unrelenting venom. At one time, he even became the founder of a society for the supremacy of the white race.
No.
This is just a typical example of an attitudinal carryover from one lifetime to another. Very much the same as karma. Can we now see that even strong emotional patterns can have their origin in past lives? For instance, if we are an extrovert or introvert is often shaped by past life experiences. The same applies to the cause of many phobias, which are often caused by horrific experiences in past lives. We can also see how intense vows like "I will never marry again" can carry through into many future lifetimes where the soul will always choose a solitary lifetime. Edgar Cayce's vast collection of life readings are on record at the ARE headquarters in Virginia Beach. They are a true treasure trove and have been carefully studied by many experts, healthcare professionals, researchers, and scientists. The ARE campus also includes a health center that offers healing modalities suggested by Cayce. Since his groundbreaking work, there have been a number of past life regressionists like Helen Warmbach or Dolores Cannon, and countless others who have written many books confirming and expanding on the work pioneered by Edgar Cayce. But can we now see how everything shifts once we grasp that our life is not just this lifetime, but we have had many, many lifetimes before, even if it was centuries ago? What we then thought, said, and did can dramatically influence and change our life and our well-being of today. Only because we can't remember our wrongdoings from the past does not mean that they don't have an effect on us, like an illness or an emotional carryover. Before anybody now rushes to the next past life regressionists, let me assure you that there is no need to dig into our past. The energy of the day will show us exactly what thoughts, words, and actions are out of balance with love. I have explained this in great detail in my video, The Amazing Earth School. If we are facing a strong recurring situation over and over again, then let's feel into it in a quiet time. Take a moment to meditate and see if something from a past life comes to mind that could be about some karma. Most diseases are directly from the lifestyle of this lifetime, and if not corrected, will continue to be burden to the soul.